FM94 The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And on the phone tonight, I'm talking with Sean Danielsen, lead singer of the band Smile Empty Soul. And I think it was about 3 years ago, Sean, you and I had a chance to talk. And first of all, welcome back to the show. And how are things going?
Well, thanks for having me back, and things are going very well, man. We're just still out here doing our thing, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely, and currently you are out on tour. You have the Shapeshifter tour going on, you along with Romantic Rebel, also Shallow Side, and one other band, too. Who was that? I can't remember now.
The Everyday Losers.
Everyday Losers, correct. How's that tour been going so far?
It's been going great, man. You know, the other bands are all really great bands and really good people. We actually, Shallow Side is just joining it today. They're replacing this other band that had to drop off called Be It The Means.
Okay.
And we were actually just cranking the Be It The Means record, driving down the street, as you call it. They're a terrific band. So one of the better bands we've taken out in a long time. Their record is killer. And so we're a little sad to see them go, but hopefully Shallow Side is a bunch of cool guys, too, and a good band.
Yeah, and that's one question I'll ask you right now. You've been around the business for a while, so you've seen bands come and go. As recently, though, right now, what are some bands that are kind of up and coming that maybe we should take a look at? And you just mentioned one there. What are some other ones that maybe you've been hearing about that you think, hey, the radio needs to take notice of a band like this?
Oh, dude. I mean, to be honest with you, there aren't many. It's the rock scene is just not my thing these days. It hasn't been for a while. I find myself listening to other stuff. I guess just too many years of screaming and loud guitars and all that, But Be It The Mean, and a lot of bands these days sound very generic, There's a lot of cookie cutter stuff, just reproductions of stuff that's already been done and just being beaten to death. So that's one of the things about Be It The Means that we all really were impressed by, is that their sound is just very unique, and they're not trying to sound like any other band. They're not trying to fit perfectly into any already established scene, and that's what's great about them.
You're not the first veteran rocker to say it. In fact, last week I had the chance to interview Seether, Buck Cherry, and Finger 11, and they almost exactly said the same thing you did. The rock scene has gotten stale, and it's gotten very cookie cutter. Why do you think that is?
Well, the situation with labels has gotten really weird, and there's just a lot more fakeness in putting bands together and pairing them up with songwriters instead of trying to find bands that are original and have their own sound and write their own songs. And record companies want to sink money into bands that are just these young kids that they put together, that they wrote the songs for, that they can control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the bottom line is, we all know that this industry is driven by money, and if you want to go for a real shot at radio, you got to have a lot of money. And so, it's either get a record company to back you or spend your own money. Most people don't have that kind of money to spend, and so the cookie cutter bands are the ones that get the attention of people who have the money to spend, I guess.
Right. I guess that definitely makes sense there. We're talking to Sean Danielsen from Smile Empty Soul. We should mention Sean and the band are coming up to Minnesota. They'll be playing next Tuesday at Opinion Brewing Company in Newport, Minnesota, so you can check them out next Tuesday. What have you guys been up to? Obviously, you mentioned touring, but what are some other things that you guys have been up to? Are we looking at maybe a new album coming up here again?
Well, we actually just released in April. We released an EP, yep, DVD, dual disc set that we called Shapeshifter, and it has 6 tunes on there and a DVD. And that's what we're supporting at the moment, right, with this tour. And as far as future music goes, we're not 100% sure, but we are kind of putting together, over the years there have been a lot of songs recorded here and there in this studio and that didn't make a record for one reason or another. and I think we're actually going to put together a little collection of those type of tunes next.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm sure fans of young and old would like to hear some of that old stuff that never reached maybe an album of that. I'm sure there's a lot of that stuff, isn't there, that you have, Sean?
There is. There's a couple cool covers, and there's a bunch of original tunes from any given year or studio session over the years. So it should be an interesting little collection, and I think after that we'll focus on regrouping for something completely new again.
You mentioned covers. I got to ask you this question. I don't think I asked this question 3 years ago, and if I did, well, my memory's so bad, okay? But the question is, though, actually, and I love to ask this to all the bands that I interview, is we're talking about covers now. If you had to have somebody do a cover of a Smile Empty Soul song, who would you like to have cover that?
I don't know. I never think about anything like that because no one's ever going to cover our stuff except for a bar band here and there. If we just had our choice,
yeah,
it'd be cool. It'd be cool to see a band like a more chill, experimental Radiohead or something.
Okay.
Cover one of the softer tunes and make it real trippy and interesting.
Yeah, no. And I've had people say other genres of music too. Like it'd be a country artist or a pop artist do one of their songs too. That.
Well, if we're talking about money here.
Yeah, now there we go. Let's talk money.
Big country artist cover a tune.
So what song could they? What would be? How about Bottom of a Bottle? What the heck? Every country song is about drinking, right?
Well, what would work for country would be Silhouettes.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's a softer kind of like singer-songwriter type of tune.
Yeah.
And I could see a country artist doing that pretty decently. And the lyrics are, somewhat country-esque with the storytelling element and all that. So let's try to get on that. Maybe you could get somebody in the country world, some big person to cover that for us.
All right. Well, it's something that I always am interested to try to work on. So let's do that. Let's talk about Silhouettes for a minute. What is the song itself? When you wrote that and you put that together, what was behind that? What was the meaning of that song? I know I've talked about some of the other ones, but I don't think I've ever talked about that one before.
Well, that one's just trying to, it's just about trying to carve your own path and not just make the same mistakes that your parents did. Gotcha.
And one thing I like asking too is, everybody has a favorite. Obviously, fans gravitate to songs that they probably heard a lot. But what's one song that you really enjoy playing out on stage that maybe people haven't heard of so much?
Those are our favorite tunes to play. Typically, are some of the B-side tracks on the record that don't get the radio love and or the crazy amount of YouTube spins. Actually, one song that we've been playing again on this tour is called Black and Blue. It was the first track on our last full-length release. Came out in 2013. That was a really fun one to play live.
Okay, and that was off of Chemicals then?
Yep, that was on Chemicals.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. I'll have to check that one out again. I know. It's the first track?
Yeah.
So I should be able to figure that right away. It comes up right away, right?
Exactly. It's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. We're talking to Sean Danielsen from Smile Empty Soul. Of course, they are coming to Minnesota next week. They're right now on a 49-date gig here. And you guys are no stranger to those, are you? When you're a band like you have been, you have to pound the pavement and get your name out there, don't you?
Yeah, especially with the level that we're at, if you want to make a tour as profitable as possible too, you gotta really do as many shows as you can while you're out there, because the tour is going to cost you a certain base rate just to get it all up and running and break it all back down. So while you're spending that money, you might as well do as many shows as you can. And we've definitely been a band that over the years has done crazy 50-plus day runs or just tours that then roll into another tour seamlessly. But it's the way to survive,
I remember you. Now it's all coming full circle. Why we interviewed you 3 years ago? I think you were up here for Halfway Jam, which just was last weekend here, just south of us here, Royalton, Minnesota. Do you remember that outdoor festival, Halfway Jam?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it was.
Absolutely, that's what it was. Do you like playing outdoor festivals, or do you like playing more intimate clubs?
You know, it depends on the circumstances, because the outdoor festivals can be the ultimate when they're packed out. You know, when you're playing for like 40,000 people, there's nothing better, of course. But when you're up there and it's kind of a scattered crowd, and some people are like on their phones, and then some people are just smoking cigarettes, and you know, then you feel like you're playing this huge open field, and not getting that energetic feedback from the crowd that you want to be getting. So in those instances, you'd rather play a smaller club where you can get those people packed in together. It's really a matter of getting that energy from the audience. Any show that you're getting that feedback from the audience and that return of energy, that's a great show.
Right, absolutely. I totally agree with that. If you get the energy, and like you said, you can even going to some of the festivals and that, if they're just there just to party and not really enjoy the music, sometimes it gets lost, you know, and it's sad for people that really love the music, because it's like, really, why don't you just look up at the stage? You can spend an hour just rocking out to this band that we're watching right now, rather than doing some other stuff that you could do any single day, any single time you want.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you always look out there, and the people that don't look like they're enjoying it or having a good time, you wish they were, of course, as the band that's on stage. But at the same time, I understand different people go for different reasons. They go for different bands and all that. But it definitely feels a lot better for the band that's on to have that energy exchange going on back and forth with the crowd.
Right. I see you guys are with Pavement Entertainment now. How's that going? Those guys seem to be pretty progressive, kind of on the right track. You agree with that?
Yeah, you know, those guys. I've known Tim King from Pavement, who's also the bass player from Soil for God knows how many years. You know, back from they came out right around the time that we came out, and we did a lot of festivals together back in the day, and we've done some touring together. Even more recently as well, and so it was just a natural fit, you know. We use them to distribute our records, because we've made our own records just by ourselves,
right,
from the beginning, and so we use them to distribute, and it's a nice little relationship, very very easy going, and just call Tim up and talk to them and set it all up, and goes smoothly, you know.
Right. And actually,
it seems like they're doing very well. They're signing a lot of bands, a lot of credible, good bands. So it's great to see them having success.
I was just going to say that too. One of the local bands here, they're called Strange Days. I think you've played with them before too. Do you know those guys?
You know what? The name sounds familiar, but I can't actually picture it for sure. I would bet that we've played with them though, especially if they're on Pavement too.
Yes,
they're probably out there playing a lot, and we've probably played with them.
Yeah. Anyway, they were just telling me though that that relationship with Tim too, they're getting that too, and of course, you know, with Soil and that, and it's kind of helped their career definitely. And you know, for somebody like them, those guys are, you know, they're in their 30s and even I think pushing 40. You know, that's kind of getting later in the industry standards, I guess, to some degree. But then again, Sean, you've been around for a while, too, so it's kind of like you have to almost reinvent yourself a little bit, too, to get some more stuff out there so people hear it a little bit. Do you guys do that a little bit, or do you pretty much stick to your own roots when you're playing your music, or for that matter, maybe you're coming up with new things to write about or sing about?
Well, I don't let... when I'm writing, I don't let outside pressures interfere with that process. I just try to write what comes out naturally and what feels right when it comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I try not to be like, oh, you know, what's gonna make us more popular as a band, because I think that at this point in our careers, we've just accepted that we are what we are. We are where we are. We have a good little fan base that's pretty dedicated. And so we just figure, you know, if something great happens for us, it happens for us. If it doesn't, that's okay too. We get to do what we love to do and make the music we love to make. So I think that from record to record, we have grown and developed, but it hasn't been in accordance with what we think will make us more popular. It's just been in the direction that we're naturally kind of being just pulled into through our creativity.
Nice. Very nice. And that's what I like to hear. I mean, you're a true artist You take care of what you want to do, your passion is, and that's all it should matter. And if people out there like it, great. And if they don't, well, well, go find something else, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the attitude. You just can't please everybody. You can't force people to like your stuff, and we're not going to force ourselves to change the music that we play to try and become more successful. So it just is what it is, and we're happy with it, and we have a good time with it. We still do this as our careers here, and what more could you ask for, really?
Absolutely, that'd be one fun career to have, I guess, especially if you have that passion towards music. One thing I did want to ask you, Sean, is before we get going here, is if you've been out on tour many times, but if you had to put together your ultimate tour on who you want to like hang out with in the sense of play with, so you had to put a 3-band bill together, what other bands would you love to go out with that maybe you haven't had a chance to do that yet?
Well, the one thing is that you never know whether you're going to enjoy being on tour with other bands until you get out there with them, because
right.
Regardless of whether you like their music or not, the personalities involved can't be known until you get out there with them.
Right.
But I mean, if I had to put together a tour of people that we've toured with, that we know, that are good people, as well as a good musical fit, I'd have to say, we love touring with Seether.
Yeah.
That's a good fit musically.
Oh yeah.
We don't know the guys in Foo Fighters, of course, but that would be a killer musical package right there. And they seem like good guys from the press stuff that you see. So maybe that, us, Seether, and Foo Fighters.
Okay. That'd be pretty killer show, wouldn't it?
It would be fun.
I would be there for sure. Absolutely. And one place that hopefully a lot of people are going to be is next Tuesday, Newport, Minnesota, at the Opinion Brewing Company. What should they expect to see at the show coming up next Tuesday?
They should expect to see us in jeans and T-shirt, rocking our tunes as best as we can.
Absolutely. Hey, if people want to get to know more about the band Smile Empty Soul, how can they do that?
You can go to our .com site, smileemptysoul.com. You can go to our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Smile Empty Soul Music. We have a Twitter page. We have an Instagram page. I have personal, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter pages as well. And, from both of those sites, we post about any releases or shows coming up and try to keep people informed as to what we're doing.
Isn't it crazy how we've gone to that now, all this social media, than it was 10 years ago? You never heard of that?
Oh, it's horrible, man. When we first started, we didn't even have a Facebook page.
Right.
And everything was based on word of mouth and street promotion.
Yeah, yeah.
And, what labels did. And, of course, radio was gigantic at that point in time. And then we had a lot of success in the music video world, with Fuse and MTV2, and even MTV, original MTV, got some spins from them late at night.
Right.
And then social media just swooped in there, and all the other elements of the industry got destroyed. And so now it's just like everyone's just posting from Facebook. I don't know what to think about it,
I think bands should go back to the old school way of, getting the poster and then stapling it on the telephone pole all around town. That's what I think they should go back to again.
Totally, man. I miss those days.
Absolutely. I do, too, because that's the way I grew up as a kid. And it's crazy when I talk to these young bands now, and I said, well, how did you meet your members? And they all tell me, well, we met on Craigslist and that. I'm like, really? I'm like, you weren't friends or anything like in high school? Or, you met down at the local tavern or something, and you said, hey, I play an instrument too, kind of thing? Yeah, it doesn't happen that way anymore.
Way.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything has to involve a computer now.
It does. It does. Hey, Sean, thanks so much for joining me on the program. Looking forward once again to seeing you soon. And, of course, everybody can check you guys out next Tuesday down in Opinion Brewing Company in Newport, Minnesota. Thanks so much again, man.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it, and hope to see you down there.
Absolutely. That is Sean Danielsen. He's the lead singer of the band Smile Empty Soul.